No chains, no knees, no lies. Truth, no chains, no knees, no lies we obey. Truth, no fear, no sleep, we see through the play. Truther, Odyssey. Truth over trovert, truth over control. They wrap control in safety words. They dull the edge, they blur the nerve. But truth cuts clean, it doesn't bend. It stands alone until the end. We don't kneel, we don't comply. We don't swallow package lies. We read between the cracks and scenes. We hunt the real behind the screen. Truth, no chains, no knees, no lies. Truth, no chains, no knees, no lies we obey. Truth, no fear, no sleep, we see through the play. Truther, Odyssey. Truth over lever, truth over control. Seeking truth in a world full of disinformation and indoctrination. Truth, no chains, no knees, no lies. Truth, no chains, no knees, no lies we obey. Truth, no fear, no sleep, we see through the play. Truther, Odyssey. Truth over covert, truth over control. Seeking truth in a world full of disinformation and indoctrination. Welcome, everybody, to the Truther Odyssey, where we seek the truth in a world full of disinformation and indoctrination. I need to throw this up here real quickly. Also, viewer discretion is advised with this live stream. This is not going to be, how shall I say, age appropriate material. So either come back and rewatch this live stream later, or take the kids into another room because it is not for their ears. This is some dark stuff we're going to be getting into. This is the dump connection. This has to do with, and the timing was kind of strange. They dumped it on a Friday, which a lot of the previous dumps have also been done on a Friday.
And bear with me as well. I am not 100%. I started coming down with something on Thursday night, and I was just a wreck yesterday. I'm still not 100%. But with these release of the Epstein files, there's just so much. Over 3 million documents. Some of the stuff is the DOJ has deleted, which right there is sus. That right there makes you go, oh, what's going on here? And with some help, I learned to make going through the files on the website, which, so like I've always said, don't take my word on this stuff at all right? And I've always done my best to provide you guys with links so you can go do the homework yourself and come to your own conclusions. All right. Don't trust me. Don't trust anybody with this stuff. Go, read, do your own homework. Form your own conclusions. Free thought, right? As we go through some of these documents, I'm going to take you outside the documents to show you related subjects to certain names that are brought up in the files and how those names are tied to certain events, crimes, convicted crimes of a similar nature as Epstein. Now, right there alone, my use of that name, Epstein, is going to be shadow banned on most of these platforms just from uttering the name Epstein. I do not fear the algorithms. I could care less about monetization. You will not hear me beg you for anything. All right. I am purely for this information. I do not, once this live stream's done, I will try to. I know I'm automatically going to be demonetized on YouTube because I'm not going to change proper vocabulary, proper subject matter to suit the woke agenda. I'm not going to wokeify the facts. I'm not going to wokeify the crime. And it's dark. It is dark. Very dark. I'm gonna just chill here for a bit. More than likely, this is probably already heavily shadow banned. Uh, Trying to get anybody to watch this is join the live stream is going to be difficult. But yeah, we're about to get into the Epstein files. Bear with me. Messaging a friend real quick. Before we get into the files, one of the best people on reporting this stuff has been Whitney Webb, who is a journalist I have a great admiration for. And she has been covering this subject for months. I would like to show you uh, a video video. Yeah, that's the one right there. So we're gonna play this video. A video of hers real quickly. Show you some things. It's like, huh, it's not a good look. Okay, yeah. So we're gonna start with this video. It was an interview Whitney Webb did on the PBD podcast, who he himself has been very quiet since the dump of these files. Uh, so we're gonna pull that up real quick, listen to her a bit. She's the freaking master expert on the Epstein case. And keep me from wearing out my voice. So let me get this pulled up for you guys. Okay, yeah, we're cooking with peanut oil. Before I start this, hold up. Let's do this right. Let's do this right. Working on a mystery. We detectives need to spark up our pipes and go down the rabbit hole together. Yeah, I was so in bad shape. I didn't smoke till 6:30 p.m. and I only ate once yesterday, and I forced myself to eat. I was in bad shape yesterday. I pretty much slept the entire day because I was having trouble just staying awake. Like, I should just stay in my bed. That's what I did. I entertained going live last night, but I was like, nah, no, because I'm struggling to look into this Epstein stuff while trying to get better. I feel somewhat better, but not 100%. So. To Whitney Webb. Let's hear what she has to say. Mind you, this is not recent, but it ties to recent. This is her bread and butter, all right?
People like Semyon Mogilevich, whose name has come up, for example, like when mainstream media talks about Donald Trump and the Russian mob and all of this stuff, it all goes back to Semyon Mogilevich, but they won't acknowledge that he was a business partner of Robert Maxwell, and you have Donald Trump partying on the Lady Ghislaine, Robert Maxwell's yacht, in the same period in the late 80s, and I think it's interesting, too, you look at Donald Trump's reaction to Jeffrey Epstein's arrest. He wants to distance himself. I'm not a fan. And then Ghislaine Maxwell gets arrested. I wish her well, he says.
Uh-huh.
In Jeffrey Epstein's case, I think he was definitely doing the gotcha stuff and the ladder stuff to people. I think that's pretty clear. But in addition, when he tried to justify himself to journalists after his first arrest, he would be like, now listen, historically, the age of consent wasn't 16, and it's not that weird. Once they hit puberty, like game on, basically, is what he was saying. And people have pointed to, I think it's an op-ed piece that Alan Dershowitz wrote, and I think the early 2000s or late 90s, don't know the exact date, but he says something like, it should really be once girls start menstruating.
Dershowitz said this?
Yes.
This is why his name constantly gets brought up.
There's allegations against him, obviously, but
he's talked about it and he's responded to it in interviews. Like, people have asked
he's very direct about it, but I think that's part of his strategy. I think he feels like if he shirks away from it, people will assume guilt, and I think he thinks he has a better chance of, protecting his reputation if he confronts it head on. But I don't, the court of public opinion, as far as Dershowitz is concerned, I think a lot of people seem to agree with the allegations. But again, it's hard to know. When it comes to Epstein, if your name gets associated with him, even Epstein acknowledged, and early 2019, he's radioactive is the word he used to describe himself after his first arrest.
Two things. Let's talk about when the connection came with Clinton and then when he met Ghislaine. Which happened first? He met Ghislaine first, then he met Clinton.
Yeah. So with Ghislaine Maxwell, it's publicly claimed that they met in late 1991 or so. Their first public appearance together was when he sat next to her and her mother at a tribute to Robert Maxwell shortly after his death that was at the Plaza Hotel in New York. But, that was sort of, in my opinion, more of a coming out of their public relationship in this close association that followed from that point on of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. I note in the book that there's differing allegations, and people are open to make up their own conclusions about it, that they met years prior. And there's also allegations from people that worked with Robert Maxwell when he was doing
stupid ads,
doing stuff for Israeli intelligence, including former Israeli intelligence agents, that Robert Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein knew each other in the mid-1980s and worked together on intelligence stuff, and that Ghislaine Maxwell had sort of brought Epstein into the fold because they had some sort of romantic relationship in this.
Who had the romantic relationship?
Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine before 1991. That's the claim.
Is that how you would, how would you describe their relationship? Were they friends? Were they lovers? Were they business partners? Was it all the above? Was it weird? Was it sex?
I think after 1991, it was definitely very business partner stuff. There's been a lot of
I tried everything: coffee, Pomodoro, and binaural beats, but nothing stuck until I tried this.
this stuff out there to absolve Ghislaine, I think, in a sense, where they say, oh, she was just enamored with him and that's why she did everything. I think it's much more complicated than that. And the reason I think they've been able to sell that narrative so well is because they just totally ignore her father and her relationship with her father. Her father dies and she's used to being in this particular relationship with a man, in this case, her father, who dominates her life and runs it basically for her and has for years. And then he's dead. And what does she do? She goes to someone who's just like Robert Maxwell.
So it's important to find out more about Robert Maxwell because he himself was a very, very interesting character. What do we know about Robert Maxwell?
Oh, man. Well, I mean, we could fill up the whole podcast talking about Robert Maxwell, to be honest. Really? But really, his intelligence connections are a matter of record. He was very closely associated with Israeli intelligence. He was also closely associated with figures in Soviet and Eastern European intelligence to a significant degree, an alleged relationship with British intelligence. I mean, it seems like he could have been a double or triple agent, very involved with intelligence stuff. And that's why it's complicated when we talk about intelligence affiliations. Oh, people are like, Robert Maxwell was just Mossad. Well, it's more complicated than that. These people are interested in money and power for themselves a lot of times. So if it means, helping these guys out and helping these guys out, having your hands in as many pies as possible to rake in more money for you and stuff like that. I mean, a lot of these guys seem to do that. And Robert Maxwell was definitely a guy that sort of seemed to not just straddle different intelligence agencies, but also intelligence and organized crime, which is another big theme of the book. So looking at Robert Maxwell around the end of the 1980s or so, he went into business with Eastern Bloc mobsters in a big way. People like Semyon Mogilevich, whose name has come up, for example, like when mainstream media talks about Donald Trump and the Russian mob and all of this stuff, it all goes back to Semyon Mogilevich, but they won't acknowledge that he was a business partner of Robert Maxwell, and you have Donald Trump partying on the Lady Ghislaine, Robert Maxwell's yacht in the same period in the late 80s and all of this stuff. So is it really more of the Maxwell mafia or the Russian mafia, right? There hasn't really been an interest in connecting, those dots, right? And I think it's interesting, too. You look at Donald Trump's reaction to Jeffrey Epstein's arrest. He wants to distance himself. I'm not a fan, right? And then Ghislaine Maxwell gets arrested. I wish her well, he says. And people like that used to be pretty close to this nexus, like Stephen Hoffman, say that Trump was much closer to the Maxwell side than the Epstein side.
From the father's side, Robert.
Yeah, and that it continued, that his affiliation with Epstein and Ghislaine after Robert Maxwell's death, talking about Donald Trump, was because that he was closer to Ghislaine than Epstein necessarily.
Well, let me ask you this. How was Trump's relationship with the Murdoch family?
I'm not exactly familiar with that, but
because these guys were competitors. Maxwell and Murdoch were not
were competitors, yeah, but Trump's mentor was Roy Cohn, right? And so Roy Cohn had a friendly relationship with Murdoch.
Got it.
So
and these guys are going at it. And this character, Robert Maxwell, could have been like a great Gatsby character because he would tell the stories, and half the stories you don't know if it's real or not. But at that time, you kind of have to believe it.
He's been described as like narcissistic, a very, very big on self-promotion, very, he was determined to make himself and his family sort of like the next Kennedys. He wanted to make a dynasty of power. That was what he was interested in.
Maxwell.
Robert Maxwell, yeah. And one of the top FBI special agents in New York, John Patrick O'Neill, went on record saying that Robert Maxwell, before he died, set into motion a global coalition of criminals, that he basically made a major successful effort to bring together organized crime factions from around the world into like a global, basically criminal conglomerate at the same time that he has all these intelligence affiliations.
Wow.
And that's pretty significant, right? Well, I was just going to say that O'Neill said, if you look into that guy's career specifically, he was sort of headhunted to be head of the security at the World Trade Center, and he started just days before 9/11, and he was sort of pushed out of the FBI. But before he left the FBI and he made these statements to author Gordon Thomas. He said, I have people looking in, still trying to unravel the Maxwell legacy in New York. And this is a decade after Robert Maxwell's death. The Daily Beast, around the time that Epstein was arrested the second time, came out and noted that Epstein had attended at least 5 meetings at the Clinton White House with a guy named Mark Middleton. Okay. Last December, the Daily Mail obtained the full visitor logs. That number ballooned to 17. It wasn't covered in the U.S. Shouldn't that matter? That it goes from 5 to 17. You have this guy in less than around 2 years going to the White House 17 times. And he's not just meeting with Mark Middleton. His first meeting was Robert Reumann, former head of Goldman Sachs, who, by the way, Goldman Sachs was accused of being a major accessory to Robert Maxwell's financial crimes, including the stuff with the pension funds and all of that were involved in all of this crazy stuff. So the guy that is running basically the bank that
I tried everything, coffee, Pomodoro, and binaural beats, but nothing stuck until I tried.
Was on a roll.
Robert Maxwell is very much tied to. Robert Maxwell dies, and the first guy to bring Jeffrey Epstein into the White House is that banker.
So go to the Clintons. You were talking about everything with the Clintons. Why do so many people, when it comes down to Clintons, get suicided? We hear the story.
I don't have an answer for that, but I can give you my opinion.
Yeah, that's what I want to hear. Why we hear these stories, and then I want to ask you whether you feel Trump has any kind of a involvement with Epstein, not in regards to business, but with women, because I have my own theory there as well. But let's start off with the Clintons first.
Okay, so the Clinton stuff is really complicated. And even I, like with the book, I sort of saved some of that stuff for last, and it probably should be its own book, because this Mark Middleton guy, most of his meetings were with Mark Middleton. You have these visitor logs came out right last December. It's 17 visits. It's much more than 5 with Mark Middleton. And then just a few months later, Mark Middleton dies in Little Rock, Arkansas. He was allegedly found hanging by the neck with an extension cord around his neck and a shotgun wound to the chest, and it was labeled a suicide. A local court in Arkansas said that no media front taken at the scene, photos, videos, anything is allowed to be released to the public.
Hold on, what? He was hanging.
Supposedly,
with a shotgun
this is again from the Daily Mail citing local law enforcement that it's very crazy.
Listen, if you can commit suicide by hanging yourself and shooting yourself with a shotgun in the chest, you're a magician is what you are. You're in a league of your own. To be able
and so this is right after it comes out that he's, meeting the guy that met with Epstein a bunch at the Clinton White House. But it's even crazier than that, because once you start looking into who Mark Middleton was at the White House, it gets crazy really fast. I'll give you an example. George W. Bush comes into office. Are you familiar with the first time Bush invoked executive privilege? Among other things, I think there were 3 things in the particular document that was, that invocation. But one of those 3 was all documents about Mark Middleton not going to Congress, which was investigating Mark Middleton. Why did Bush step in to protect aid to the chief of staff of the White House for Clinton, who's normally, he's not a big fish, right?
Yeah, what was the
Why is Bush stepping in for that?
Yeah. What's your theory?
Well, if you look into why Mark Middleton was infamous at that time and why he was being investigated, it's remembered really only by U.S. conservatives today, and they refer to it as Chinagate, which is kind of a largely forgotten political scandal. It's insane once you get into it. I personally think
Chinagate.
I think Chinagate's kind of a misnomer. You do have China involved, but really it's the same. It's some of the families that backed Bill Clinton when he was governor of Arkansas, the Riotti family, Jackson Stevens, these types of figures. When Bill Clinton becomes president, they have a lot of interest in China stuff. And mainly it looks sort of like a lot of tech transfer stuff to China. And so conservatives at the time said it was basically the Clintons selling out U.S. national security on a major scale to the Chinese government, or mainly to firms that were, state-backed and tied up with the Chinese military. And Mark Middleton was one of the guys at the center of this. And Epstein's meeting with him at the same time that Chinagate's active, and oddly enough, in the same period of time. And I mean, this is why it's so crazy. Jeffrey Epstein, on behalf of Leslie Wexner, is involved in moving an airline called Southern Air Transport from Miami, Florida to Columbus, Ohio to run cargo for the Limited. And that's the airline that used to be Air America, the CIA airline. Southern Air Transport was involved in the Iran-Contra stuff, moving stuff, the Mena, Arkansas, Barry Seal, the cocaine stuff, all of that was Southern Air Transport. And then just a few years later, it becomes the airline of the Limited, and it's not going from Miami to Latin America anymore. It's going from Columbus, Ohio, involved with Epstein and Wexner. It's going to Hong Kong. And this is the guy at the same period of time he's meeting with the Chinagate guy. I mean, there's a lot of really crazy stuff here, and honestly, it would take the whole podcast to unravel it all. I've tried to do my best in the book, but there's really a lot more there, and it's very crazy. And the other guy at the center of this was Commerce Secretary Ron Brown, who agreed to cooperate with an investigation into a lot of this stuff, and then he ends up dead in a plane crash that kills a bunch of people in the Commerce Department that are at the exact part of Commerce, ITA, at the Commerce Department, that was basically the department most targeted by this particular group for Chinagate. It's so nuts. I mean, I would encourage people to read this part of the book because there's so much detail. It's so convoluted and insane when you get into the stuff about this. And even the congressional reports that were done about Chinagate, I mean, it's totally insane what happened. It's very illegal. And there was a focus on the illegal campaign donations, but it was basically like pay-for-play politics. But it was pay-for-play politics where these elite...
Take note of that. The illegal campaign donations. This is going to come back up in our own research. All right? With certain names that have popped up in the Epstein files. Students of Alan Dershowitz.
Illegal campaign donations were being obtained from non-U.S. citizens, and it was basically buying influence of the Commerce Department that seems to have been signing off on basically tech transfers of sensitive military and other types of technology to our ostensible adversary, and when it wasn't supposed to be sent over there, and also stuff about China's trading status, like most favored nation trading status, because Clinton campaigned on playing hardball with the Chinese about that stuff, and he totally reversed. And a lot of this is because of this one family that backed his political career going way back, named the Riyadis, that are actually Indonesian, but they're ethnic Chinese, and they have a lot of business interests in all of Southeast Asia. They're very big. They're called the Lippo Group. And the Lippo Group and Jackson Stevens, these guys have a relationship with BCCI that we talked about earlier back in the 1980s, and actually tried to save the BCCI Hong Kong branch before its collapse. And that's when they went into business with some of these Chinese government-owned firms. And that's where Chinagate really starts, and it gets really crazy from there on out. But not talking about Chinagate anymore, you look at the first time Epstein went to a Clinton fundraiser, it was supposed to be for the White House Historical Association, nominally a fundraiser so Hillary Clinton could redecorate parts of the White House. I feel crazy talking about it just because it's so insane. But this fundraiser Epstein was involved in, he was one of the donors to that. You also have one of the guys instrumental in BCCI stuff, like Clark Clifford, who was in the Carter administration and played a major role in BCCI's entry into the U.S. financial system. And then you have a guy named C. Gerald Goldsmith, who tried to run for mayor of Palm Beach once, who has a bunch of ties to offshore banking complex, organized crime. I mean, a lot of the guys, not everyone, obviously, but some of the guys that attended this fundraiser are financial guys like that. And this fundraiser ends up in Vince Foster's suicide note. Are you familiar with Vince Foster?
Yeah, of course.
He was White House counsel. And
for Clinton?
Yeah, and he died. And there's a lot of speculation about what really happened there. Because, he supposedly shot himself in the mouth, but there's no blood at the scene, right? And the autopsy report said it was a mouth to neck wound, and then they changed it. On some pages it says that. On some pages it says, it was a regular gunshot wound. And then the people that were at the scene are advised about the autopsy late, and they show up, and all the part of the mouth and neck, the palate, all this stuff is just taken out of Vince Foster, so they can't look at it. And there's a lot of weird stuff going on there. I mean, I know, the specifics about the death in the book and why people suspect something, but it's pretty much a matter of record that when police police went into Vince Foster's office after his body was found. There was nothing in his briefcase. And then somehow, like 36, I think, hours later, the White House claims there was a suicide note that Vince Foster left. And it was apparently Hillary Clinton's office that was responsible for finding that suicide note after this extensive delay. And the only mention of Hillary Clinton in that suicide note is related to this White House Historical Association fundraiser.
Wow.
You there?
Another ad.
Yes, you. It's time to make the switch to Mint Mobile.
Where are you coming from?
Oh, it's over. Okay. Yeah, so there's that. So, yeah. Yeah. Now we're about to get into... So right there, it's laying the foundation to... It's... How to word this? To give you the blueprints and the layouts. So when we are about to go and examine, go to the DOJ website, and we're going to dig into the files. All right. So when we start looking into things, when a certain name pops up, I'm going to take you to see subject matter connected to these names, and a lot of words that was used in that Whitney Webb video we just watched is going to pop back up. And events that are not directly tied to Epstein himself, but are convicted crimes with a similar nature to Epstein. All right? So let's get into the weeds. Let's get into the weeds right here. You guys see this? We are at justice.gov/Epstein/search. There's a link to this in the description of the live stream. All right? You guys see this? Let's start with that. Oh, what we got here? 5 pages worth of stuff with Jared Kushner. Boo. That is absolutely nothing. What we got here? Okay. Subject: invite to the New York Observer 25th anniversary, which is owned by Jared Kushner. Dear Mr. Jeffrey Epstein, Jared Kushner, New York's youngest powerhouse publisher, is celebrating the 25th anniversary of the New York Observer on Thursday, March 14th. Mayor Michael Bloomberg will be by his side to toast you all. The Observer is honoring those who have defined and shaped New York since 1987. They are celebrating the city's best, brightest, and most influential in culture, media, and finance. The salmon pink pages are revered among New York's elite as the preeminent voice on power. The celebration is going to be one of the quintessential New York nights. We are looking forward to seeing you. XOXO Peggy. Wow. Jared Kushner, publisher. Joseph Meyer, CEO. Cory Booker. Arthur Carter. George Chapman. Katie Couric of the Today Show. Holy shit. Lauren Santo Domingo. Katie Holmes. Woody Johnson. Peter Kaplan. Matt Lauer. Oh, shit. Blake Lively. Holy shit. Ron O. Perelman. Donald Trump. Ivanka Trump. Harvey Weinstein. Cordially invite you and a guest to join them at the New York Observer 25th anniversary, Thursday, March 14th, 2013, 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. Cocktail and light supper. The Four Seasons Restaurant, 99 East 52nd Street, New York City. Oh, yeah, here's a clear. That's fucking crazy. We'd like for you to stop by, have some cocktails and a light supper. Would you like to come and join us? We'll have Katie Couric and Matt Lauer of the Today Show with us. Blake Lively. Oh, fuck. Donald and Ivanka Trump and Harvey Weinstein are personally requesting your presence. You and plus one, preferably Ghislaine. We know who you're going to bring to the supper with the rest of the elites of New York. Holy fucking shit. Holy fucking shit. That's getting fucking downloaded. Boop. Bear with me. That is fucking nuts. Holy shit. Yeah, this is going to get crazy, isn't it? Bear with me, folks. Yeah, that sucker is downloaded. Holy shit. Yeah, we're about to have fun with this live stream, guys. There's no doubt in my mind. We're going to get in so much trouble. So much trouble. Okay. See what else we got on Jared Kushner. Trust me, there's more. Oh yeah, I think we already saw a version of that one. This one and this one are the same. What we got here? This has Steve Bannon's name on it. What do we got here? Subject from Jeffrey E. to Steve Bannon. Yeah, we get Bannon, said Democrat Representative Dennis Heck as he emerged from the hearing. The information contained in this communication is confidential and may be attorney-client privilege, may constitute inside information, and is intended only for the use of addressive. It is the property of JEE. Unauthorized use, disclosure, or copying of communication or any part thereof is strictly prohibited and may be unlawful if you have received this communication. Oh, I bet it is. I bet it is. Holy shit. They are fucking scrubbing the internet. Here we go. What do we got there? What do we got here? As anybody who's been faithful to the Truth or Odyssey for a long time knows, I am just a huge fan of Jared Kushner and just love covering the great work he does. He is just an icon. Let's zoom this in a little. Yeah, from Peggy Siegel to JEE vacation at gmail.com. Title lunch today. Tamara Mellon is having lunch with Wendy Murdoch today, but we'll go to Dasha Roman's party tonight. Why don't you stay? I am walking down to Sam and Abby's house now on the beach. It looks crowded from my terrace view. We'll report spook to Taiwan. we can get and table any number, anytime. Call or email me what you want to do. I might take a tennis lesson at 4 p.m. Depends on the schedule. Brooke Needich just emailed me. I am on 150 most powerful New Yorkers list in the Observer. Thank God I am friendly with the owner, Jared Kushner, Peg. Uh-oh. What we got here? See, this is the cover-up shit right here. All right, we already know about that. I talked about that numerous times. Go back to this, all right? Look at this. Please note the information contained in this communication is confidential and may be attorney-client privilege, may constitute inside information, and is intended only for the use of the addressing it is the property of JJE. Unauthorized use, disclosure, or copying of this communication or any part thereof is strictly prohibited and may be unlawful. Yeah, see, that's fucking cover up right there. Yeah, this fucking stinks eye hell. Once again, we're getting hit with this disclaimer that says we can't see this shit. Jared Kushner tried and failed to get $500 million bailout from Qatar. Heck, before I was able to click on that link and open it up. Now it's nope. Hold up. From Nicholas Ribis to Jeffrey E. Subject forward. New York Post. Kushner associated link to Russia funded Facebook, Twitter investments. In case you missed this story, I'm around if you want to talk. Kushner associated linked to Russia funded Facebook, Twitter investment. A Russian tech management who holds shares of a company co-owned by President Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, invested millions of dollars backed by the Kremlin into Twitter and Facebook, a report on Sunday revealed. Oh, yeah, look at all these redactions. Let that sink in. that the only thing that's supposed to be redacted is the identity of the victims. What does the links in these emails need redacting for? Right? What are they trying to hide? This is crazy. Oh, yeah, it's all bad news, folks. Bad news. Yeah, and just think that one email inviting Jeffrey Epstein to that dinner to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the New York Observer, Matt Lauer, and Katie Couric, but particularly Matt Lauer, who was fired from the Today Show for a sex scandal. Just say it. Yeah. Yeah, this is not good, folks. Yep. Okay, what else we got? What we got here? What do we have here? This is troubling. From to who is redacted. Yeah, something's not right. Boo, 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 boo. What we got here? Once again, redactions hiding identities from whom to whom. What we got? Holy shit. From Chris Deliro to bunch of redactions. Subject Apollo Epstein Kushner connection. Holy shit. Here we go. Reiterated the SEC is grossly corrupt criminal organization bought and paid for by criminals who threaten the integrity of our markets to the clear and very egregious detriment of the investing public. It is sworn to protect. Bernie Madoff, the mafia, and the friends of Michael Milken, market rap. Dude is definitely not getting the attention he deserves. Then again, who actually believes Mark Bistry of Toronto, Canada, was investing in the money laundering economist shell known as Dry Ship? Huh. The Toronto connection runs much deeper, though. The overlap with AQR, blank checks, shells, and Polar Asset Management Toronto. The Toronto based Beatrice and Ikitamo Beatrice in New Jersey, too. And David Beatrice happened to be a real estate developer. 666 Fifth Avenue, Brookfield, Apollo Global Management. Apollo and another Kushner financial pal, Blackstone, just happened to be both granted free reign on the U.S. insurance and annuity industry. Crazy shit, huh? Greek shipping bag man, gregarious economist meets Jared Kushner. But it gets better still. Steven Feinberg, Cerebus. Virtue first bid for night post glitch, and now money laundering bank HSH. Steven Feinberg, scum of the earth, met Giorgio Economono, or however you pronounce that. Boo. Janie IG update my various pending TCRs. ESWW was a money laundering shell. The SEC knows it. The denigrating Epstein knows it. They denigrated Leon Black, Kushner, BFF, Milken, proteges, Mark Rowan, Apollos knows it. I have repeatedly offered to come to SEC DCHQ to have the brightest minds at the SEC totally humiliate me by refuting my allegations one by one. The grossly corrupt SEC scumbags have never taken me up on my generous offer for the very simple reason that all of my allegations are accurate and true. So I again put the offer out there: refute my claims or go to jail for the criminal obstruction actively being facilitated by your office and the SEC. So let's give these scumbags the insurance annuity market. This will not end well for tens of thousands of Americans who greenlighted this takeover of the insurance industry by PE hedge funds. This is a blatant attempt to intimidate a whistleblower. He, I think, a male, although very effeminate voice, was an anonymous coward scumbag who threatened me and called me another 11, 12 times. After that, this is a very serious matter, felony. I intend to see him prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law within weeks of filing a complaint against the SEC and you. I obviously have hit a nerve. Oh, what we got here? A money laundering NASDAQ OTC shell, Milken, Denegrit, Leon Black, Joshua Harris, Apollo, and Jeffrey Epstein, the SEC known for years that Epstein is running an extortion Ponzi slush fund. My claims again. Interesting. What's with all these redactions? I mean, a lot of redactions. All right, guys, I'm going to take a quick break. So I'm going to pull up a background and have our new FYI. We now have Truth or Odyssey theme music. So I'm going to pull up this. And take a quick break, and I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. This is the Truth or Odyssey, where we seek the truth in a world full of disinformation and indoctrination.
We stand awake while the world sleeps. Eyes unchained, no leash, no creed. They draw the lines, they sell the fear. We cut straight through, we see it clear. No master's crown, no lies obeyed. No truth for sale, no debts unpaid. We hear the wrap control in safety words. They dull the edge, they blur the nerve. But truth cuts clean, it doesn't. We stand awake while the world sleeps. Eyes unchained, no leash, no creed. They draw the lines, they sell the fear. We cut straight through, we see it clear. No master's crown, no lies obeyed. No truth for sale, no debts unpaid. We hear the hiss beneath the tone. We claim the ground we stand upon. Truth, no chains, no knees, no lies. Truth, no chains, no knees, no lies we obey. Truth, no fear, no sleep. We see through the play. Truther, Odyssey. Truth over trovert. Truth over control. They wrap control in safety words. They dull the edge, they blur the nerve. But truth cuts clean, it doesn't bend. It stands alone until the end. We don't kneel, we don't comply. We don't swallow package lies. We read between the cracks and scenes. We hunt the real behind the screen. Truth, no chains, no knees, no lies. Truth, no chains, no knees, no lies we obey. Truth, no fear, no sleep. We see through the play. Truther, Odyssey. Truth over leather. Truth over control. Seeking truth in a world full of disinformation and indoctrination. Truth, no chains, no knees, no lies. Truth, no chains, no knees, no lies we obey. Truth, no fear, no sleep. We see through the play. Truther, Odyssey. Truth over covert, truth over control. Seeking truth in a world full of disinformation and indoctrination.
Okay, we are back from our break. Had to go take care of myself. We are still going through the Epstein files at justice.gov/Epstein/search. Uh-oh. What do we have here? I found something with a lot of names. FYI, just because their names are in this does not make them guilty. All right. Oh, I should probably. Mm-hmm. Wizard. Let's shed a little light on the situation. One does not merely enter into murder. One ring to rule them all. That's what we got here, folks. The fucking one ring of Sauron. Okay. There we go. I had some people watching, and now not so much. That's what happened when you get shadow banned for telling the truth. Yeah, right. So from Michael, from Gregory Brown to undisclosed recipients, BBC JEE vacation at gmail.com. Dear friend, hate in America. There is a virus, and there is a virus, and our country, it's a virus called hate. On November 8th, 2016, Donald Trump was elected president. Within hours, the United States was awash in an unprecedented wave of hateful indictment or incidents. Many of them perpetuated by people claiming to be Trump supporters. Our republic needs serious repairs. The signs were apparent well before Donald Trump won the election on a platform that included unapologetic bigotry, Shit's so fucking crazy. Yeah, we're gonna quote Lady Gaga as the fucking bastion of free speech and hope. Okay, well that's hold up. What's this? Once again, from and to whom is fucking redacted. Today's table of contents. Intelligence officials warn of Russian and Iran interference in U.S. elections. State officials working with FBI on election security. Protests. Antichrist cities sue Trump administration over designation. Judge dismisses third-degree murder charge in Floyd case. Schumer, Wyden urged FBI not to probe Biden family prior to election. Ex-Hunter Biden partner says Joe Biden was set to get cut a business deal. Oh shit. Trump Ratcliffe reportedly seeking declassification of Russian inquiry documents. John Brennan discusses DNI, Ratcliffe's credibility, Trump's relationship with intelligence community. Huh. Well, was. Oh, you are fucking shitting me. What just fucking happened? Right, here's the one I've been looking for. Here's the one I've been looking for. Which a lot of people have probably already seen this one. This is the one I'm wanting to get into. Right, so it's showing. Okay, cool. Double check it. Federal Bureau of Investigation, CHS reporting document. I'm going to download this. Yeah. Harvard law professor Alan Dershowitz, CHS learned that Dershowitz influenced many students from wealthy families. For example, Josh Kushner, Josh, and Jared Kushner, Jared, were both his students. Dershowitz told CHS that if he were young again, he would be holding a stun gun as an Israeli intelligence Mossad agent. CHS delivered Dershowitz was co opted by Mossad and subscribed to their mission. CHS still continues to communicate occasionally for Dershowitz. Jeffrey Epstein was represented by Dershowitz. CHS remember Dershowitz tells Alex Acosta, U.S. Attorney of Southern District of Florida at the time, that Epstein belonged to both U.S. and Allied intelligence services. CHS shared phone calls between Dershowitz and Epstein during which she took notes after these calls. Mossad would then call Dershowitz to debrief Epstein was close to the former Prime Minister of Israel, Ehud Barak, and trained as a spy under him. Barak believed Netanyahu was a criminal. Saudi Arabia, Israel, and United Arab Emirates are allied against Qatar, Turkey, Iran, and Syria. One of CHS's blank, who presumably worked, asked CHS a lot of questions about Epstein. CHS became convinced that Epstein was co-opted Mossad agent, seeing previous reporting. Mossad Drakova, telephone number redacted, is based in Silicon Valley. She has been running a firm called Day One Ventures, which, can I hide that? Yeah, that's better. That's a lot better. Called Day One Ventures, which is supposedly an early stage investment company. She used to be Russian President Vladimir Putin's main contact in the Russian youth movement. CHS and Drakova spoke, but Drakova did not talk at all about technology. Instead, she looked at CHS and said, "You knew Epstein, didn't you?" She said Epstein was a wonderful man and that it was a crying shame what had being done to him. CHS concluded Day One Ventures was in Silicon Valley to steal technology. Oh, is that right? Not good. DHS or CHS, my bad, advised Chad Bad is doing everything they can to co-opt the Trump presidency. Chad Bad is basically state-sanctioned Judaism. It is used by Putin to keep tabs on all the Russo Jewish oligarchs. On the day Trump was elected president, Ivanka Trump and Jared were at the gravesite of Rabbi Shirsom, who was the most powerful rabbi in the Chadbad network. Jared didn't disclose his stake in Cadre because of his ties to the Russian state NFI. CHS believed that this was the real Russian collusion story. Kushner has moved a lot of Russian investment money around. The FBI investigated Kushner's family charities to find evidence of corruption and money laundering. Chadbad routinely uses charities to launder money. CHS provided the attached article entitled Jim McGreevy and His Main Man by Craig Horowitz, published 9/10/2004. While the article is old and centered on Charles Kushner, we're going to get into him. That's Jared and Josh's father, by the way, who is, you know what? Let's talk about Charles Kushner real quick. Perfect segue right there. Actually, no. Yeah, it kind of hints at it right here. Let me pull that back up for you. Right, yeah, we're good. Okay, let me show you this. Charles Kushner. It is highlighted and documents the deep ties the Kushner family has with Israel and their history of corrupt business practices and alleged violation of what? Election laws. CHS stated that if the FBI is serious about investigating the Kushners and their relationship with Middle East, they should look closely at Ken Kurson, who knows everything. NFI, CHS advised Henry Kissinger introduced Charles to Chui Tanake, the Chinese ambassador to the U.S., a relationship that could have been helpful at around the same time of the introduction. Angbang was entering negotiations with the Kushners over 666 Fifth Avenue. Yeah, this is getting fucking downloaded. Yeah, so the first part of this one right here, a lot of people have seen, right? But they don't really show you this whole Charles Kushner thing. Now, let me tell you why Charles Kushner is important right now. Very important. Right? What we do here on Truth Odyssey, we seek the truth in a world full of disinformation and indoctrination. All right? Let's talk about Charles Kushner. It's going to get good. All right? And they kind of hinted at some of this and that. Let's talk about Charles Kushner. Charles Kushner, born on May 16th, 1954, is an American real estate developer, diplomat, convicted felon, and disbarred attorney, serving since 2025 as what? As the United States ambassador to France and Monaco. He founded Kushner Companies in 1985. What? His elder son, Jared Kushner, is the husband of Ivanka Trump, the daughter of the U.S. President Donald Trump, during whose first presidential administration he served as a senior advisor from 2017 to 2021. He has three other children, including his younger son, Joshua, a venture capitalist who is married to supermodel Carly Kios. In 2005, Kushner, here we go, was convicted of illegal campaign contributions, tax evasion, and witness tampering, and was sentenced to 2 years imprisonment, which he served in the federal prison camp Montgomery. As a convicted felon, he was also disbarred in 3 states. He later received a pardon issued by his son's father-in-law, President Trump, on December 23rd, 2020. Kushner has donated significant amounts to Trump's campaign. Previously, listen, he was a major Democratic Party donor. In 2025, he was nominated by President Trump to serve as United States ambassador to France. During his second administration, he was confirmed by the United States Senate on May 19th, 2025, by a vote of 51 to 45. Now let's get into this conviction. On June 30th, 2004, Kushner, Charles, Daddy Kushner, was fined $508,900 by the Federal Election Commission for contributing to Democratic political campaigns in names of his partnership when he lacked authorization to do so in 2005. Following an investigation by United States Attorney for the District of New Jersey, Chris Christie, negotiated a plea agreement with him under which Kushner pleaded guilty to 18 counts of illegal campaign contributions, tax evasion, and witness tampering. Listen, this is where we need to listen. Excuse me. Let me get a drink real quick. The witness tampering charge arose from Kushner's retaliation against William Schudler, his sister Esther's husband, who was cooperating with federal investigation against Kushner. Kushner hired a prostitute to seduce his brother-in-law, arranging to record a sexual encounter between the two and send the tape to his sister. He was sentenced to 2 years in prison and served 14 months at federal prison camp Montgomery in Alabama before being sent to a halfway house in Newark, New Jersey to complete his sentence. He was released from prison on August 25th, 2006. As a convicted felon, Charles Kushner was also disbarred and prohibited from practicing law in New Jersey, New York, and Pennsylvania. Republican Chris Christie, who chaired Trump's first transition team, said Kushner committed one of the most loathsome, disgusting crimes he prosecuted. On December 23, 2020, President Trump issued a full and unconditional pardon to Kushner, his daughter's father-in-law, citing his record of reform and charity donating to your campaign. Yeah. How about that? How about that? Does this tactic sound familiar to anybody? His means of blackmail through sexual immorality, trying to record it to have his way, illegal campaign contributions. To what party? To what party? That's right, the Democrat Party. Both parties are ran by satanic, pedophile Democrats. Bonkers. It's so bad. So bad. So yeah, there's the connection to the whole Charles Kushner, who's now a sitting freaking U.S. ambassador to France and Monaco. Bear with me. I don't know if you guys remember uh, Adrian Curry. She was the first winner of the first season of America's Next Top Model. She, on Twitter, she goes, I am accused of being a leftist or a Trump tard multiple times a day for the past 6 years. I'm replying, isn't it fun being a truth talker? That's the best part of social media right now is making everybody on both sides pissed off over the truth, losing their minds over it. It's so fun. So much fun. Oh, where was I? That's weird. This is being really weird. There we go. Here, I'll show you it real quickly. I think you guys will get a laugh out of this. The gift that's attached to it is just spectacular. Yeah, here she is. I'm accused of being a leftist or a Trump tard multiple times a day for the past 6 years. This is me. This isn't fun being the true talker. Shit. Fantastic. Fantastic. So let's get back to this. What made me divert to talking about Charles Kushner? Because there seems to be a lot more. Yeah, so here was the mention. Harry Tan is so we'll just call him Harry. Has been involved, has developed Trump's hotels, and is a billionaire. Harry. Wait, they redacted his last name. So right here they show his last name, and then it's redacted. It's so fucking stupid. Introduce him, her to the Indonesian CIA. Speak Indonesian. Harry bought his Beverly Hills home from Trump at an inflated price. Redaction. Was at Harry's house when Harry redacted that Trump told him that he was going to fuck Amazon over their military contracts. CHS advised that this was a real collusion story. Trump has been compromised by Israel, and Kushner is the real brains behind his organization and his presidency. Igor, which I've been fucking saying that for years. Like Jared and Josh Kushner's part in the whole fucking COVID scheme is bigger than what you think. FYI, COVID is not unconnected from fucking Epstein. It's all connected. All of it. Jared Kushner was Trump's co-head. So Jared Kushner and Mike Pence were the lead of Trump's COVID-19 task force. Right here. Jared Kushner and the COVID-19 task force. Yeah, right here. All right, let me show you this. In March 2020, Jared Kushner initiated a shadow coronavirus task force that operated alongside the official White House coronavirus task force led by Vice President Mike Pence. Key roles and initiative. Kushner spearheaded this effort to airlift personal protective equipment, PPE, and medical supplies from overseas to the United States. He focused on coordinating with private sector to address shortages of masks, ventilators, and other critical gear. His team initially worked on a national testing plan, though it was eventually abandoned in favor of a state-led response. Data tracking, the group sought to create real-time tracking systems for hospital bed capacity and medical resource availability. The task force relied heavily on young, inexperienced volunteers from the private sector. Josh Kushner's role during COVID-19. While Joshua Kushner did not hold a formal government role, his company and family connections were central to early COVID-19 response efforts led by his brother, Jared Kushner. Key activities and involvement: Oscar Health Testing website. At the request of the Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, Josh's health insurance company, Oscar Health, developed a prototype website to help triage individuals and direct them to testing centers. Although a team of Oscar's engineers worked for several days on the project, the website was scrapped before it ever launched. Joshua's father in law, Dr. Curtis Kloss, used a Facebook group of nearly 22,000 emergency room physicians to crowdsource recommendations for the White House response. Klaus explicitly mentioned having a direct channel to the person in charge, Jared Kushner, and reportedly sent him a list of 12 recommendations. Startups linked to Joshua Kushner's venture firm, Thrive Capital, received millions in Paycheck Protection Program (PPPs) loans during the pandemic. Excuse me. Conflict of interest. Ethics experts and government watchdogs like Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington crew raised concerns that Jared Kushner's use of family-linked company Oscar Health to build a government tool violated impartiality rules. Jared reportedly divested from Thrive Capital before entering the White House, but critics argued that his close ties to Joshua's business interests created an appearance of self-dealing during a national crisis. Yeah. Yep. All good stuff. Just corruption for you and you. Oprah Winfrey just handing out corruption to everybody. Yeah. Yep. Oh. just within this one document. Here we go. Here we go. We're going back to that same one. The same one. Look at this. Shit just got interesting. CHS stated Renda Tillerson, Renda phone number, redacted. Renda is the wife of Rex Tillerson, former Secretary of State for Trump. Renda told CHS about smears in the New York Post about how Jared was running a rival State Department operation. Rex affirmed Renda's claim. Renda was introduced to CHS by Darren Blayton. Renda and Rex both told CHS they had been under intense surveillance. Renda told CHS she can't wait for the FBI to call her so that she can tell them everything she knows. According to Jed Sugarman and Whitney Webb, Leon Blacks owns the mercenary firm formerly known as Blackwater, now Constellatus, which has been accused of being involved in several arms and human trafficking scandals. Black is also the CEO of Apollo. At New York Times noted that Black inexplicably stood by Jeffrey Epstein, recently giving him $15 million. Apollo also lent the Kushners $184 million US while Kushner was facing his 666 Fifth Avenue disaster. Hold on. See, this has got my want me to put on the fucking investigation hat and dig into what I just read a little bit more. So I'm going to do this. Bear with me, folks. Yeah. Constellatus, the company formerly known as Blackwater, was acquired and restructured after Eric Prince's exit. By 2014, Prince no longer involved, and Constellatus became part of a portfolio managed by Apollo Global Management, where Leon Black was CEO. Timeline of ownership: Blackwater Constellatus, founded in 1997. Eric Prince, Al Clark, renamed to Z Services XE. Eric Prince still involved. 2011 renamed to Academy. Ownership shifts to private investors. 2014 Academy merges with Triple Canopy, forms Constellatus. Eric Prince exits. Apollo Global Management acquires controlling invests via Eagle LM5 LLC. Leon Black, Apollo CEO. 2020, Constellatus faces bankruptcy risk due to debt. Apollo still listed as stakeholder. Leon Black and Jared Kushner were publicly photographed together at the elite social events, including the 2016 U.S. Open. Years before, Leon Black's ties to Jeffrey Epstein were widely exposed. Their proximity reflects shared access to high level culture, financial, and political circles, not necessarily direct business dealings, but institutional overlap. Huh. September 2016, Leon Black was photographed sitting in between Jared Kushner and Carly Kloss in a VIP box at the U.S. Open. The group included Ivanka Trump, Princess Eugene, David Geffen, and others. At the first, Black was CEO of Apollo Global Management, and Kushner was on the cusp of entering the White House. Financial overlap. Apollo lent the Kushner family, which we read that in the document you're seeing right now, the 184 million, while Kushner was facing financial pressure over the 666 Fifth Avenue property. This loan was issued during a period when Leon Black was still CEO of Apollo. The transaction raised questions and potential conflict of interest, especially given Kushner's government role. Leon Black paid over $150 million to Jeffrey Epstein, including $62 million to U.S. Virgin Islands prosecutors for damage related to Epstein's victims. These payments were made while Black was still active in elite financial circles and before his resignation from Apollo in 2021. The U.S. Senate Finance Committee has investigated Black's payments to Epstein. DOJ documents and CHS memos reference Dershowitz's influence over students like Jared Kushner and connect Epstein to intelligence services. Leon Black's name appears in some of these reports as part of broader institutional mapping and not direct accusations. Agreed. Yeah. It's all one big club, and you ain't in it. Is what they're telling us. Why don't you common folk just shut the fuck up, mind your own business, just let us fondle your children in the name of the Dark Lord Satan. Hell, Satan. Shit's crazy. What to get into now? Oh shit! Yeah, let's just keep reading this document. Most of you probably kept reading while I was looking into the Apollo group Leon Black stuff. Elliot Brody recently pleaded to charges related to money laundering, unregistered lobbying for the UAE, which is part of the Abraham Accords, United Arab Emirates. Brody previously paid a former Playboy model over $1 million to stay quiet about an affair he had with her. Brody allegedly successfully lobbied to increase U.S. sanctions on the government of Qatar. CHS advised since Brody was reportedly the largest fundraiser for Trump supporting the 2016 presidential election, he apparently used his access to Trump to lobby. Joe Mowbray, telephone number redacted, has been in Brody's inner circle. CHS believed Mowbray was an unregistered lobbyist. Mowbray was one of the shiftiest people CHS has ever encountered. Mowbray was a convert to Judaism. CHS stated Mowbray would flip on Brody because he's a flipper. Congressman Ed Royce was close to Brody and has been trying to do shady things. Royce's wife may be a lobbyist who works with Brody. CHS emphasizes the importance for the FBI to investigate Gawker for its involvement in pushing Russian propaganda. Matt Mellon told CHS that after Gawker was destroyed, the Russian intelligence service started Zero Hedge and influenced U.S. people. That's the end of that document. Holy cow, just that one alone. Holy cow. Now I want to show you guys something. I am about to wrap this up. There's something you really need to see when you go back to the search engine, right? So here we are back at justice.gov/Epstein/search. And you type in Baal, Baal, Philistine God. Search. There are 5 pages related to this. Just tied to the name Baal. Bloomberg Financials, Deutsche Wealth Management, Bank of America, Allstate Corp, Bank of America, Bank of America, Bank of America, Barclay Bank, Capital One Financial, Charles Schwab Corp, Citigroup, Countrywide Capital, Digital Realty Trust, eBay, First Republic Bank, Fifth Third Bank, General Electric, Goldman Sachs, HSBC Holdings, JP Morgan Chase. Yeah. Yeah. Morgan Stanley. Isn't that the fucking law firm? You guys ready for this one? Okay. JP Morgan Financial sponsors July 29th, 2009 at 11:55. Memorandum Jeffrey Epstein to William Doherty at JP Morgan. Please wire $11,438.10 for in the above account to Bell, name Wachovia Bank, routing number, account number is redacted, account name One Clear Lake Center LLC, reference the Florida Science Foundation, invoice 1404. Please call if you have any questions to let me know. The Fred reference number ID 0369072092058.01. Bell. Bell. Yeah. Yep. It is not a pretty sight. It's been over 2 hours and almost 40 minutes. I'm going to call it a night, guys. There's a lot more going on in these Epstein files. Just the shit we have found, just on just with Kushner's name alone, is fascinating. And when you look into his dad, Charles Kushner, and what the whole family's involvement is with COVID-19, it all stinks. So yeah, I'm calling it for the night, guys. Live streaming. You know, I'm going to keep digging and looking into these files, see what I can find. Hopefully, health wise, I start feeling much better in the next day or two, which I probably will. Compared to how I felt yesterday, I feel somewhat better, but I'm still feeling it. So hopefully I'll feel better next couple days. And while I'm looking into this stuff, if I find anything, which more than likely I will let you guys know about it. This is the Truth or Odyssey, where we seek the truth in a world full of disinformation and indoctrination. I am your host, as always, the True Talker, Jacob Bakers. God bless you. Good night. There's a link. Go use the link in the description, guys, so you can go look at this stuff for yourself, not just taking my word for it. Studying the contents for yourself, because that's how you come to your own conclusion. All right, and see the connections. So that's it for me, guys. I am signing out.
We stand awake while the world sleeps. Eyes unchained, no leash, no creed. They draw the lines, they sell the fear. We cut straight through, we see it clear. No master's crown, no lies obeyed. No truth for sale, no debts unpaid. We hear the hiss beneath the tone. We claim the ground we stand upon. Truth, no chains, no knees, no lies. Truth, no chains, no knees, no lies, we obey. Truth, no fear, no sleep, we see through the play. Truther, Odyssey. Truth over trovert, truth over control. They wrap control in safety words. They dull the edge, they blur the nerve. But truth cuts clean, it doesn't bend. It stands alone until the end. We don't kneel, we don't comply. We don't swallow package lies. We read between the cracks and seams. We hunt the real behind the screen. Truth, no chains, no knees, no lies. Truth, no chains, no knees, no lies, we obey. Truth, no fear, no sleep, we see through disinformation and indoctrination. We see through the play. Truth or ODSA. Truth over covert. Truth over control. Seeking truth in a world full of disinformation and indoctrination.